Hello, everyone. In today's video, we're going to be answering a question a couple folks had. They said, you fly planes in the real world, X-Plane 12, Flight Simulator 2024 or 2020. How does it actually feel? What would your opinion be on things? And today, what we're going to do is run through a couple different airplanes, and I'm going to put that opinion on there. Like I said, I'm not a big opinion guy, but every once in a while, it creeps through. So let's see just how realistic it is from my perspective, which, again, limited. So first of all, I fly GA. I'm a single-engine land certified private pilot, and like I said, I've got quite a bit of experience in some of these different airplanes. The 172, of course, being my original love, so to speak, and we'll just kind of go through it and see how it goes. First things first, when you did the Cessna 172, the startup was always involved. Even when you did everything perfectly, there was a lot of drama going on here. So, for example, here I'll pop on my switches, go ahead and enrich in the mixture. Normally, what we would do, since this is the fuel-injected 172, is we'd have to do one of these things. We basically fire up the fuel pump. We do one of those, go ahead and pull this out. And what we do is we crank it and basically listen for the moment that it catches, and we jam the fuel back in. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, there's no 172 on Earth that would start that fast. But one of the things that was cool there is you actually listened, you could hear the fact that it did indeed catch, even though the mixture was pulled all the way out. So I actually kind of appreciate that. So that's another real-world pilot thing. It beeps at you and blips at you, and there's a lot of sounds. There's all sorts of solenoids and stuff like that fire. So far, so good. I like all of that. Like I said, the startup is too good. There's very few aircraft that can aircraft developers that have found kind of the balance between making it too hard and too easy to start. But as a general rule, everybody seems to be on the easy side as far as that goes. So next thing we're going to take a look at is taxiing. 172s are really quirky because when you actually push the pedal to the right here, I'm going to go ahead and push it, you're actually tightening, basically, if you want to think of almost like a bungee cord. So when you hit that, it's a very loosey-goosey kind of feeling. One of the things the developers did is they made it so that if you actually hit the pedal all the way, you see how it kind of snapped to the right there? It actually will engage a little bit of brake. That's been the world's best and worst thing that you could add. That's okay. Again, just feeling with the taxi. So I should be able to, I call this the power donut. Oh! That's actually pretty authentic. The only thing that they didn't quite get right is my wing would have tipped a lot more aggressively. So, okay, all right, I'll give it to you. I'm not loving the way they did the parking brake. I know they chose to do it realistically, but for me, it's inconvenient because you have to hold the brake and then engage the parking brake, and it's just like the most awkward. See how you can see it engaging a little bit? Or you can just hit the V key and engage it that way. That works too. All right, other things we're going to be looking forward to, again, looking from the real world's perspective, is when we're sitting here on the ground, this plane should be very unhappy. Do you see how it's pretty still? This plane in the real world would be kind of bouncing around. You'd be getting kind of one of these things almost constantly, and just sort of a little jitter. And again, we're not talking wind. We're just talking the wash off the prop hitting your elevator. So that's okay. That's okay. I'll allow it. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to try getting this thing up in the air. So one of the things I want to check real quickly here is I just want to take a peek at the windsock. Windsock is favoring that runway. This, of course, is a short runway, so we're going to use one clicks of flaps to help us out a bit today. There we go. And again, they actually got the nose wheel steering pretty accurate. It is like stretching a rubber band is the best way to describe it. Now, for those of you who've experienced the Cessna 182, you'll notice that stretching of the rubber band business is very, very real. All right, this is a good way to test it too. When I stomp on the brakes, the whole nose should go like that. Yeah, which it does. Nice. All right, let's get going. So if I were to take a look at the calculations real quick, we're fairly lightly loaded today. We do have fuel tanks, but we're not full weight. We're expecting to take up just a little past the 2/3 point here. I'll use short field takeoff technique, though. I'll go ahead and check everything. Looks good. All right, let's go. Yep, it crouches. That's correct. And what we do, of course, is, that's not realistic. Yeah, so the plane does pull to the left in the real world. It doesn't pull that hard to the left. I am almost three-quarter travel. That's not correct. All right, looks good to me. There is the 2/3 point. We're getting a little light, but that's okay. All right, we're just going to leave the ground. Okay, that was actually very good. Not bad at all. That's just the right amount of drama that I would expect for Ellington Airport here. All right, I'll start backing off some of that lovely rudder there. You can see just how much we were using. Looks good. right, we're going to push the nose down. We're going to go head up to our VY here. We were at our VX a moment ago. There's about 75 knots, and we're looking about 700 to 800 feet per minute. So let's see what we get. We get 625. No, we're getting 700. We're getting 700. Accurate. That's actually very accurate as well. I'm happy with that. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of altitude, and we'll do some naughtiness. All right, let's do some naughtiness. So one of the things I'm always curious about, and some games get this, it's okay. It's one of those things in the real world that is so much easier than it is in the sim, and that is setting the mixture. So what we're going to try to do here is we're going to set the mixture the way that I was taught to do it years ago, which is basically feeling the plane. You want to feel the plane. When the plane gets unhappy with you, that's usually when you got it right. We also, of course, let me go get my joystick a wiggle there. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the mixture out. In the real world, you pull it out about an inch, and what'll happen is usually RPM comes up a little bit, which it did. So I like that. And then what we just keep pulling it out slowly. You can see my exhaust gas temperature is spiking. This needle does not respond that fast in the real world. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. And we pull it out a little more. Oh, there it is. Do you see how there's, listen? You hear how there's absolutely no roughness? That lack of roughness is the universal sign that, again, that roughness is what you'd be listening for. And it's not like, but you do get a little bit of vibration. And it's usually the clue that you got the mixture where it needs to go. But again, there's other techniques I can use. So that's not quite right. I've not played too many games that get that correct. Now that we've got the mixture all set, let's do the next bit of snottiness. And that is going to be a stall. So I like that. Not complaining. Like I said, the mixture, I've never really played a flight sim that's gotten that right. We get a little bit. All right, let's go dirty the plane up. You can hear me clicking away there. All right. So what we're trying here is we're just seeing what it wants to do. So we're completely stalled right now. And you see how it's got that nice little buffet to it? That is actually really authentic. All right, let's go full stall. So this plane should stall pretty flat. Oh, that is not realistic. No. That is not how that would go. So again, depending on how your plane is configured, as a general rule with this plane on an approach stall, you just get the plane, the nose just kind of bumps a little bit. It does not, nope. That is not what it does. I'm sorry. So what it would normally do is you get a little bit of buffet. There's no snap like that. You get a lot of buffet, and then the nose would just kind of do one of those for you. It wouldn't snap hard to that direction. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to say that if I go like this, I can get the other wing to drop. Yep. Nope. That is not quite right. So stalls are hard to get right. There's a lot of complex stuff going on when you stall a plane, and I very, very, very rarely see it where it just kind of mushes. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to go hit it up into a departure stall now. And this is when I expect the plane to almost do a quarter turn on me. Let's see if it does a quarter turn. There. That wasn't... even that's too aggressive. All right. No. Again, with perfect coordination, the plane should have just sort of mushed and kind of come down. It will buff it. It'll absolutely buff it, but very rarely does it snap like that. Not on a 172. Again, other planes do snap pretty bad, but not this one. Let's go ahead and keep playing with it, though. We'll go ahead and bring it into a nice left turn here. Again, coordinated left turn. Go bring those flaps down. All right, let's see what it wants to do. This one's the dangerous one. Even that mushed a little better. Yeah, not thrilled. All right, what happens when we try to land it? So the big thing for me, things I'm looking for during a landing. One thing, of course, is the drama. And the other thing, of course, is going to be just kind of the way the speeds are. Now, with this particular aircraft, in the real world, the 172, a lot of times if you let the nose drop for a second, you're suddenly doing 80 knots. So that's even more true with a 182. The other thing is, when I was learning to fly, it was always 65 knots, because, again, you were a new pilot. So you obviously want to give yourself a little bit more wiggly room. It also made you an expert at kind of the float mamba, where you're trying to hold that last 6 inches without smacking into the ground. Of course, the better speed for this plane is usually about 60. That's going to give you much shorter landing, especially if you're trying to hit a specific point. We're doing 60 right now. I can tell you right now in the real world, it is so hard to maintain one exact speed during approach. It's one of the hardest parts to it. So we've got the flaps all the way down. Our airspeed is pretty good. This plane gets really mushy at this speed. It also gets very sinky. And the best way to describe it is it just like sinks. So we're going to do 60 knots, even though 65 is what I was taught. That's okay. Got a little bit of a crosswind, so I'm going to go ahead and bring my left wing down a little bit. And it's got a little runway 5 here. Again, it shows a big long runway. And the runway's made, so we're going to go ahead and put it to idle. So the nose gets a little heavy, but not too heavy. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. And that's about where I normally hit it on the ground, too, about the 700 point. I actually like it. I like it. That felt pretty good. That felt pretty good. So, in general, not bad. The flight model, it feels okay. The stall is not quite right, but I don't think many games have quite got that well. And the other thing, too, is there's there's other little things that happen during a stall that you can feel kind of intuitively. But there's other things to test. All right. And in order to test that, we're going to need something that looks a little different. We're going to need 2 engines. So one thing that I find a lot of sims don't get right, and again, the little teeny tiny time I have a multi-engine here, is the fact that when you get to that minimum controllable speed, it is a heck of a process to get the aircraft back under control. And we're going to go ahead and test that today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and split my throttles here real quick. I'm going to go ahead and pull this all the way to 0. The aircraft is going to jump to the right, completely correct. Remember, dead foot, dead engine. Oh, I don't feel anything on the right pedal. Let me go ahead and give a left pedal there. And what we're going to do is we're going to slow down and just test the minimum controllable speed problem here. Go ahead and start reducing my throttle a little bit. It takes a lot of fancy footwork here. And what we're going to do is we're going to slow down to about the blue line, which you can see it's going to yell at me for that. I'll put the gear down just to get the thing to hang up. And what we're looking at here is basically no control. So let's see, that's about 100 knots. We are right on the death speed here. And I'm losing about 500 feet per minute. I'm going to go ahead and feed in. Oh, full throttle. Oh, that's a lot of foot. Okay, so this is what we're noticing here. And what I see here is I'm at full left throttle. I've got no right throttle whatsoever. I am below the minimum controllable speed. I am substantially, as a matter of fact, I'm closer to stall speed right now than I am in controllable speed. What we're really interested in seeing here is how easy is this plane still to fly. Ah, there's the stall warning. Oh, I still have lateral control. Ooh. So as everybody knows, multi-engine planes, when you lose one, it doesn't mean you're a single-engine plane. It means you're a multi-engine plane that needs to get a couple more feet to land, which. All right, so from a demonstration-wise, yeah, I am stomping my left foot forward substantially. I'm losing about 350 feet per minute, but I am still completely in lateral control of this aircraft. You know, if I went to bank left or bank right, I would be able to do that. But again, that's interesting. I would expect a little less control. Now, the thing is, if I let the nose come down, again, still full left power, as you can see. Let's get back to my MCA here. Nothing like the Beastie Boys. And this is not bad either. I still have quite a bit of control, which I guess we just have too much rudder authority. I think that's kind of what it comes down to for the way they flight model this. But that sort of surprises me. Still pretty good, though. Like I said, authentic enough, but they didn't quite get that right. But that's okay. Again, it's all about the flight model. It's all about who did what, how they did it well, and stuff like that. But even below that MCA, we're still pretty good. Something else we got to test. All right, this is, to me, the ultimate test of a flight model here. And this is Robinson 22. My least favorite thing about a Robinson 22, you can't actually see, and that's the control stick. I must have clicked it by accident and hit it, but it is obnoxious. So here's what we're looking for. We're looking for, I don't want to say uncontrollability, but I want this to be so sensitive that it makes me look awful. And I completely expect that to happen. So I'm going to stick my head down just a little bit here. All right, let's go. Oh, that's promising. Oh, okay, that's impressive. Oh my goodness. Oh yes, that's what I'm talking about. Oh gosh. Okay, sorry, I sound like I'm excited here. This is insane. This is correct. That is correct. That is what helicopters feel like. Actually, this is probably my favorite part so far. This thing is just awful, and it's exactly what I think of when I think of helicopters. Gosh, if I don't concentrate here. The weird thing actually is that my power usage isn't that high for this particular power, but that's okay. All right, let's go ahead and give this thing a try real quick. We'll go ahead and give it a little bit of, oh my goodness. Oh, that's sensitive. Whoa, okay, sorry, I'm getting all exasperated here, but Gosh, that's sensitive and difficult to fly. Yes, that's exactly what I remember from my little teeny time flying at Robinson here. Is it just, even when you think you have control, you have no control of this helicopter. Oh my goodness. Yeah. See how even going in a straight line, you have to constantly make corrections? That is 100% helicopter accurate. This is nice. This actually puts a smile on my face. I am pleased. Again, not that you needed my approval on any of this stuff, but I am very, very pleased by how difficult this thing is to fly. I know that folks want something that's easy to fly, but when it comes to helicopters, the harder to fly, the better when you're learning. Gosh, this thing is ridiculous. This is awesome. All right, let's see if it's just as bad as I think it is. Hang on. This is funny because I'm turning my head as if I'm like leading the turn, but I'm not in VR right now, so it's like, it's pointless. All right, let's see just how good or bad this thing really is. This is a real test here. 1,000 feet per minute is an awful lot for a Robinson 22, but that's okay. It's going to demonstrate my purpose. The rotor RPM should have shot up a bit there, but that's okay. We'll allow it. Maybe the governor's just better. Oh my gosh, this is so hard to fly. I love it. Yes, okay. I think I found something that I've got a lot of work to do this afternoon. I've got a lot of flying with this. This is so much fun. All right, so now we can go ahead and discuss final opinions here. So in general, I think these folks do a really, really nice job. I always get the vibe from the flight simulator model. Things feel kind of stiff, like it looks like it's almost like a graph kind of a thing. Whereas an X-plane, everything kind of interacts in everything else, and that kind of makes it a little bit more authentic. The stall response in the 172 is definitely not what I remember when I think of Cessna 172. That being said, each 172 is configured a little different, so it's not unusual to have a slightly different stall response. So maybe that's okay. Performance is definitely just about right. Like handling feels pretty good. Trim feels pretty good. The engine management, it's definitely getting there, but like I said, you have to get some kind of specialty model in order to find engine management that actually works. But that's, unfortunately, it's just trying to keep things simple. And you can see I've almost got this thing in a hover. As long as I don't think about it, the plane will stay in one spot. I love it. All right, let's see if we can put this thing on the ground. In conclusion, like I said, I'm not going to make a judgment between the two. I think they both have their kind of advantages. From a real-world pilot perspective, like I said, you've heard what I've had to say for a lot of these things. It depends on what you're doing. I'm not going to lie. If I didn't have a good setup as far as controls goes, X-Plane would probably not be a good choice. And the reason for that is everything is just a little bit more sensitive, and which is ironically kind of realistic and kind of unrealistic at the same token. And the reason I say that is, of course, because of the fact that in the real world, you get these very heavy control forces, and X-Plane does a nice job of kind of like simulating how far things would move if you didn't have those forces. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're trying to figure out exactly what you want to do. Flight Sim, on the other hand, definitely a little bit heavier with everything, but that also is kind of realistic in its own sort of way. Actually, this isn't bad. I can work with this thing. Oh my gosh, the rotor and ground effect is excellent. All right, I take it back. This helicopter is fabulous. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This is with the wind today, by the way. Oh man, that's nice. That's nice. I don't know. I'm just gushing at this point. I have no idea how off the ground they are. Nice. All right, hopefully this helps people who were curious about the two. At the end of the day, X-Plane's more sensitive. It probably is a little bit better as far as flight model goes, as far as from what I think of. That being said, a lot of the little stuff, neither sim really gets right, whether it's your engine modeling, whether it's the stall, which is basically impossible to get right, or it's, little tiny things. But other than that, enjoy.